to Lytudiep channel. James and Diep live together peacefully and happily with their daughter Nee. But a pain accidentally strikes their family. Diep may disappear with a serious illness. She has suddenly relapsed. Will she be able to overcome it? Or will their family officially split up from here? I pray that God will grant this girl and her family a miracle. Let's watch together. James had planned the perfect evening. The restaurant reservation had been made weeks in advance. The table was elegantly set with white linens. Soft candlelight flickered gently, and red roses bloomed in delicate arrangements. At the center sat a small cake, iced with the words, "Will you marry me?" Everything was ready, a scene straight out of a dream. That morning, Diep had smiled brightly, her eyes glowing with excitement when she mentioned their dinner plans. She had no idea what he was preparing. James had replayed the moment in his mind over and over, the way he would kneel, the ring he would slip onto her finger, the tears, the laughter. But now, as he sat alone amidst the beauty he had so carefully crafted, only silence answered him. She was late. He checked his phone. No messages, no calls, until suddenly, the screen lit up with a message that shattered his world. Diep collapsed. Come quickly. He didn't remember how he got there. The city blurred past him in streaks of color and fear. When he arrived, neighbors were gathered around, whispering in worried tones. But he saw only her, Diep, lying on the floor, pale as porcelain, motionless. Her lips were drained of color. Her breath, if there was any, was barely there. James fell to his knees beside her, gathering her in his arms, whispering her name over and over, as if saying it might pull her back. The ring, still in his pocket, felt heavy now, not with promise, but with sorrow. His dreams of a perfect proposal were swept away in a tide of panic and grief. At the hospital, everything felt cold. The white lights, the antiseptic air, the steady beeping of machines. Time lost all meaning. When the doctor finally came, his face was grim. "She has a rare autoimmune disorder," he said. "The pregnancy has triggered an aggressive response. It's dangerous, for both her and the baby." James felt the floor fall out from beneath him. The signs had been there. The fatigue, the quiet winces of pain, the way she brushed everything off with a smile. He had been too focused on planning the perfect moment to realize the woman he loved was already fighting for her life. When Diep finally opened her eyes, they were clouded with confusion and pain. "James, where am I?" she whispered. He took her hand in his, kissed her forehead. "You're in the hospital, love. You collapsed. But I'm here. You're not alone." Tears welled in her eyes. She already knew. She had known. "I didn't want to burden you," she murmured. "I just wanted to protect our baby." James shook his head, voice breaking. "You didn't drag me into anything. I chose this. I chose you. And I will keep choosing you. Every single day." The next day, when she was a little stronger, he reached into his pocket and took out the ring. His hands trembled. "I was going to ask you to marry me last night," he said softly. "But now I know, none of that matters. Not the candles. Not the roses. Not the place. Only you. You're all that matters." Her tears fell freely as she looked at him. "Even now, when I may not have much time, you still want me?" He cupped her face, his voice fierce and full of love. "Always, always you." And there, in that hospital room full of fear and uncertainty, she whispered, "Then yes, I'll be your wife. For as long as fate allows me." He slipped the ring onto her finger. And in that moment, raw, fragile, and deeply real, they were more married than any ceremony could make them. But the sickness did not relent. Her condition worsened. The doctors began speaking of choices no one should have to make, choices between life and death, between mother and child. One night, as the machines beeped steadily around her, Diep took James's hand and said, "If it ever comes to it, if it's between me and the baby, choose the baby, James." He recoiled, his heart screaming, "Don't say that. Don't you dare ask me to make that choice." But her voice was calm, steady despite her weakness. "Promise me. Even if I can't stay, let our child carry a part of me into the world." He didn't promise. He couldn't. But when the time came, when the doctors said there was no other way, Diep made the choice for them. She didn't survive the emergency delivery. Their daughter, whom they named Nee, came into the world small, frail, and fighting. James held her in trembling arms, overwhelmed by the silence that followed her first cry. There was no hand to squeeze his, no soft voice beside him to say, "We did it." Only the quiet hum of machines, and the weight of a love that had given everything. He pressed his lips to the baby's forehead and whispered, "Your mother was the bravest person I've ever known. And she loved you more than life itself." On Nee's tiny wrist was a delicate bracelet, made from the wedding ring James had placed on Diep's finger. A silent promise, now passed down to the child she gave her life to protect. Every night, James sat beside her crib, telling her stories of her mother. How she smiled through pain. How she laughed even when the world was cruel. How she gave everything for a future she would never get to see. And every time he looked at Nee, he saw deep, in the curve of her lips, the fire in her eyes, the quiet strength in her breath. Grief never left him. But neither did love. It lived in lullabies, in whispered good nights, in the gentle way he held his daughter as if she were made of both stardust and heartbreak. Because Diep was gone. Yes. But her love remained, etched into every breath their daughter took, carried forward in the life she gave. And the man who refused to let her memory fade. Love, he realized, wasn't just staying through the good times. It was holding on, even when everything else falls apart. And Diep, she had loved him in the fiercest way possible, by letting go.